Mayor Grimminger.
Here.
Alderman Couch. Alderwoman Zerwig. Here. Alderman John Stupi.
Here.
Alderman Jokers.
Here.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Here.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Here.
Alderwoman Broomfield. Here. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the revised agenda, and if I have it.
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alderman, I guess what do you?
Okay, when I wrote this, I thought they would be pouring today on Porter Street. It didn't, but they should be in the next day or two. And when they finish that, they'll have some driveways to tie in and then finish grading work, and that project will be complete. I don't want to anticipate the agenda, but I will tell you that while they were grading the road bed, we ended up destroying half of the root system of an old oak tree on Paul Arnold's property. So we met with him and evaluated it, and he agreed that we should take it down rather than waiting for it to die in a couple of years. So we asked Jokers to do that, and they hauled the stuff off, and Paul took the wood for firewood. So it was an amicable solution to what might have been a more difficult problem had we not done it while we're there. And the change order is on the agenda tonight. On the building, we finished painting. Rewiring should be completed tomorrow. We had an installation guy out today that's recommended insulation for the ceiling. The mayor and I met with Landmarks Monday night. They've approved our changing the treatment from all glass to some combination of windows and siding. We're kind of looking at the window alternatives. Going to use a vertical steel siding and insulate it and put that ox board that we bought to close it up on the inside of it to create a more energy efficient building. We'd already received on the third item money from the insurance company, $62,000. But we've sent our first group of invoices into them. They won't give us additional reimbursement until we've expended that advance that they gave us, but we think we'll get there relatively quickly. On the engineer for the biking path, drainage, and all of that we selected. I've been in conversation with them. I received a contract from them today. When you're doing work with the Federal Highway Administration and that it's transportation enhancement funding, there's a process you have to follow, the local public agency process. So we're working with them to make sure their contract matches what the federal and state governments require, that we segregate the work so that the trail work stands on its own, even though we may also be doing drainage and road design work. So that process is going forward, and hopefully we'll have something before you at our next meeting. Once again, we're in communication with Union Pacific. I was trying to get them to change their mind about whether or not parking would be allowed on the east side of the tracks, north of the ferry landing. They insisted that they're not going to allow that. I asked if they would be inclined to give us permission to set up parking on their property on the west side of the track. If you go straight, right before you turn into the landing, you'll notice there's kind of an old trail that goes up there. And the guy I'm talking to said he thought that was a possibility, and so he's running it up the corporate ladder to see if we can put parking there. When I inquired about why parking was designed there in the first place, nobody really quite knew. And I think the idea was to give a place for people to be and have a view of the river. And I don't think that will be accomplished by putting parking on the other side of the track quite as well, but it will still give us some places for the cars to park who come across and want to come into the city on other means by means other than cars. Lucent Windows, Tom Brugman inquired about the appropriateness of the TIF financing for what they're doing at Lucent. I think we agreed that he understands that unless you generate sales tax or increase the value of your real estate assessment, you don't produce an increment, and without an increment, there's no reimbursement. And we went through a lot of scenarios on ways that he might produce some sales tax maybe someday in the future, but I think he's concluded rightfully that that's not going to be appropriate for what they're doing. Finally, we replaced the part-time clerk position. Laura Aigner was one of the people we interviewed, a woman who wants to work those hours and has the proper personality and some skills that I think are useful to us. And so she's worked now 3 days?
4 days.
4 days, and it looks like it was a good decision. You're shaking your head. Finally, at our last meeting, we talked about the possibility of doing drainage work on the drainage ditch along 10th Street in front of Lucent Technologies. I told you that in consultation with the city attorney, that before we could do anything like that, the board would have to conclude that that work constitutes something other than a private benefit, that there's some benefit to be realized by other property owners or by the community at large should we do that work. We decided to take some time for folks to go by and take a look at it and think about it, and so I'm putting it back to you, asking if you think that that is something the city should pursue.
When there's something about the telephone line had to be moved?
It would have to be relocated. They marked it, Lucent, I think, made that request. It hasn't been done.
You haven't heard anything?
No.
I think it'd benefit the residents that live there.
Do what?
I said, I think it would be a benefit.
Okay, I think
We're
anybody
talking
down the
about
street.
private property.
It is private property.
Okay. Are we sure that this is going to solve any problems or help anything by doing this?
Well, without
Is this
any
something you
engineering,
looked at?
it is clear that that ditch, that the north culvert isn't draining properly because of buildup in the ditch. So I think without any other consideration, getting the ditch slopes to drain and rip-wrapping it would be something that should be done by whoever. What other drainage improvements we would do, such as putting in a drain pipe under 10th Street and across the Alderman Stupi's property, would require some design work. I'm just not, I don't know how big the pipe would be or how deep it would have to be or anything, because I don't know what the volume is in the watershed, and all those things would have to be analyzed before we could go or should go to that. I mean, maybe it's just a step process. Let's do one thing and see how well it addresses the problem, and if you want, and if that doesn't seem to be doing it, then we can move to the next step.
Well, that ditch used to be a lot deeper there, because when we were little there, you could hide in that ditch and somebody be coming down 10th Street and they'd never see you.
What do you think, it's filled in 2 or 3 feet, would you say, Johnny?
At least, yeah.
That's a lot of fill. It's gonna run over pretty quickly without having the depth.
You mean on the top end, the bottom end is it pretty low?
It's ain't been dug out in probably at least 30 years,
Yeah.
at least.
But on the bottom end, aren't the pipes that go across the road, aren't they pretty much at the bottom of the ditch
Yeah.
now? I mean, so digging it out would create a pool there unless they're partly filled in.
Well, we would.
But I know on the top side, it could sure stand,
Well, that's a little bit that's dug, I dug that by hand.
I know on the top side, it's not very, by the driveway, it's filled in quite a bit.
Yeah, it's actually, it's higher than the pipe.
Okay, that goes across the driveway?
Yeah, where I dug it out.
Yeah, we used to lose baseballs and softballs in that ditch, and there was weeds there, and we'd have to look for it for 5-10 minutes there.
Well, it's private property, right?
But it benefits other residents.
Who?
It benefits John is a resident on that street.
I know, but we have a lot of places in town that's private property that could maybe need some drainage ditches dug.
Then bring them up. What's the,
So is the city going to get into
Where's
doing
the
this on
budget?
private
did
property?
you hear what he said about the attorney? If it benefits, that's our responsibility and duty as alder.
I think we need to get a reading on that
Oh,
to
that's,
make sure. Are we sure
that's your decision.
it's our decision,
It's a policy decision on the part of the Board of Aldermen.
but
Either
not a
you-
legal decision?
No, it's not a legal decision. Either you declare, and I've consulted with Frank, his statement is as I have presented to you. If it is the board's position that work we do is not of private benefit, but is of general benefit to the city at large, then he doesn't have any problem with us doing it. If you conclude at the other side that this is work being done on private property, it should be done by the private property owner, then if we did it, it'd be a private benefit. There's no right and wrong answer on this one. It's a policy decision. And I think we have all the evidence in front of us, I mean, that we talked about it. So you just have to kind of reach your conclusion and advise me, because I can't act without your direction. I won't act without your direction.
I think we've done anything that's come before us with a case-by-case basis and decide whether or not it has to be addressed, you know? And it has to be for the public good, I believe that too. but-
Well, and that's what we're going to demonstrate. Is it for the public good? To spend money on private property, in which we just went through the budget, and we squeezed everything we could out of departments, but we're willing to spend money on other things that benefits a private person.
Now, in this case, the money that will be spent will be manpower and equipment. They would buy
That's
some
still
materials.
money spent.
It
could be used
to clarify.
someplace else.
You know,
How many people
pay
does that
taxes.
benefit? And is that
Yeah.
benefiting Trotman's
It
old
ain't so
house?
much benefit. What nobody understands at this board, at this table, is it's not Lucen's water. It's
Right.
our water. It's the city water coming all the
The
way
drainage
from
off
Mississippi
of-
Lime down Market, and it goes under Market. That's city water. That ain't Lucent water.
Gotta come from somewhere.
It's no different than them drains out here in Point Base, in between them houses. Then them people ought to
I
just
think there's any
close them
place in
drains
the-
off them.
John, there's any place in the city that has the same problem.
Oh,
And it comes off the roads, off parking lots, off of the buildings.
But that infrastructure
That impacts people.
Part of the city.
Pardon me?
Did we not just go through all that down there at Mrs. Roth's house? Because we were trying to make sure we didn't do something wrong? Instead of telling her, sorry, we're not doing nothing.
But we were doing a construction project there.
But we're still responsible for the drainage water.
Well, to me, that's another issue, a different issue.
If your gutter, I know you don't want to hear this from me, but if your gutter happens to start running toward your basement, and your basement fills up, the city should come and turn your gutter. That's what we're talking about.
You're talking about a gutter on a house.
I'm
This is
talking about a
water
gutter on your house.
drainage system that's in the street. It's in the ditch connected to the street.
It's always been like that.
I would tell you what, though, water that comes into my house that's the city's fault, you better believe the city should be helping me out.
It's your
But
gutter.
if it's a gutter, there's a difference. There's a
We're talking about
difference.
stormwater.
Common sense, it's a gutter and then a drainage ditch are two different things.
Yeah, but you can't spend city tax dollars working on private property.
If it benefits the city and everyone around it,
It's been like that forever. They said it's been like that for 30 years.
how many times has it been a hazard? It's a hazard.
Oh, well, I mean,
For 30 years.
well, we go over to Point Base and we should mow them drainage ditches that we keep them mowed and all that. And that's private
That's,
property.
no, that's, Point Base is city property, that ditch. That's city property.
I think we should give other people in this city the opportunity to come down here or talk to their aldermen and tell them the problem they have with drainage. And maybe we should prioritize it to see which is more critical.
Well, that's a problem
Instead
out
of just
on
picking
Weiler
one
Street.
project up and say, we're gonna fix this. Well,
That's
we
our
don't have any money
responsibility.
we don't have any money to fix
That's our
anybody else's.
duty as Aldermanic board to make sure that our city is maintained and our residents and our citizens are taken care of.
And that's what I'm saying.
Are we gonna
But
get,
everybody in the city should have an opportunity to get
They
to.
should, they
Right, and
should.
so we're not giving them time yet. We're looking at one project. There's more projects out there, I am sure.
So because it was brought to your attention, you're not gonna deal with it because you're saying, oh, there's plenty of other people. So somebody else brings, you're gonna not deal with something that was
But no,
brought
I
to the
think we should
attention of the
deal with the
board?
worst one. I've been dealing
This
with,
one's brought
I've
to
been
the
dealing with
board.
drainage on M Road
Then bring it to the
that's
board.
never been fixed and it's been
Bring it
worked
to the
on.
board.
That's all they got.
highway property?
well, we ought to set priorities, I guess.
It's
We
a
should.
drainage ditch
30
behind
years
houses
versus
that's
stuff
never
that's
been
going on right
fixed.
now.
It still floods back there. Okay. So I think we should give everybody an opportunity.
I think you just don't wanna do it because it's John.
Oh, come on.
I do, I think it is.
Really?
It doesn't.
So you're accusing me of
I
that,
do,
right?
I think it is, I think it is.
Let's get over that.
Well, I know we got a problem
I
on
didn't
Weiler
know we
Street
were
there
getting
because
like
we
this.
went and looked at it, you and Dave and I.
John and I
Weiler
get along
Street there,
fine.
It's not gonna
drainage,
be my problem, it's gonna
they're
be.
across from the Wilmore Motel. We've looked at
They're not
that,
the
and
ones
that's a
that want us to
problem
fix
area
their
there
project.
too.
Talking about.
What's Donnie saying?
On Weiler Street, the mayor and Dave Pinkley and I went and looked at it. Every time it rains, it's a creek across the entrance there at Weiler, the dead-end street there,
Right.
and they park in water, they drive through water.
What kind of fix would that
There's
be?
a lot of problems.
Well, the whole street needs to be fixed too, but
I mean, they got like a drainage ditch that could be cleaned out to make it work.
well, there's a culvert ditch there by Randy's there, by Broomfield's there, but the water's not getting to it.
So that would have to be addressed, something similar to 10th Street, you think, or not?
And that's something similar to it, yeah, they'll have to. It's a problem.
It's a difficult, if there is drainage on private property that causes a road to become inundated and we can clean it out and keep the water on the private property side of the road, we do that.
Right.
Did that on Chadwell Lane.
That's what I thought.
Because
yeah.
the street was being closed for hours at a time because it would take that long for the water to drain out. And you ask the property owner's permission and you do the work and there's no question as to the public benefit.
Right.
I can't tell you where that line is. When it's clear to me, I take action without worrying about it. When it's clear to me that this is a private benefit, I don't bring it to your attention because I just try to explain to the property owners quite as I can, we can't maintain your private property. The ones we're talking about are the ones that fall in the gray area. And when it isn't clear to me, then I think the board has to make a policy decision. And obviously, this one is not clear because of your own conversation around it. And I don't feel, but I do know that if this board says, we believe it is in the interest of the community, there is no one to refute that. I mean, you're the highest authority on this. And the city employees will do as you direct.
Well, I think you said something there that would have to be considered is that if we can keep it off the streets and keep it in the drainage ditches where it belongs, then that's what we probably should do.
And again, I can't tell you that doing what I can do without proper engineering is going to ultimately accomplish that for the worst rain event. But it's clear, the condition that it's in right now, it won't handle the water.
Right. And that's just, I mean, you're talking, didn't Dave say a day or day and a half?
Yeah, it's not a major, if they buy the materials, it's not a major financial commitment.
I think the upper end of the, I don't know that the bottom end, if the pipes are already at the bottom of the ditch, we certainly couldn't dig that out any deeper, we didn't have a pond there, but at the top end, it is silted in. And there is no question that there is a lot of water that comes out of that culvert that used to run across the field there or buried in another culvert all the way across there years ago before that place was built. And they built it current window company, or the current company there didn't do it, but there is a lot of water that does come off of Market Street through that. Would they have the problem if they weren't getting all that water off of Market Street? I don't know. I don't know if they would or not, but certainly not as much, because there is a lot that comes and runs down along the driveway and then hits that ditch on 10th Street. So,
Yeah, I mean, it runs right down this person's driveway and heads over towards Beltgrass. That's the way the water runs.
it runs
And I'm
down.
surprised the guy that lives in that house there that has the driveway where all the
It's a
water.
culvert. That's a
That
box culvert. It goes from Market all the way along their drive. It's a box culvert.
It runs down the road too, and it runs
Well, not
down.
much. It's a box culvert though.
But I think there's more to it than this digging along there and putting riprap in and fixing that all up nice and pretty. I think there's more to it. Yeah. Just like you said, it's maybe on the upper end, maybe that's where the fix is. But like you said, that'd pool right in there.
Well, I don't think believe me, I'm no engineer, but just kind of looking at it, it looks like most of the part that's silted in is only about half the ditch. To me, if you dug out about half of it down and sloped it correctly, I think you would take care of the problems of, because I would think right now that you are going to get water coming across the road on that top end, because I don't think it can. It making that turn right there at the driveway, that 90-degree turn is not going to happen very
It's a lot
easily
of
anyway.
degree turns.
And, but
I don't think there's any question about it would help.
yeah, it would
If we
help.
dug it out.
Right.
And we keep it off the street and possibly off of, or out of buildings downstream.
I don't think we're talking a lot, as Mark said,
No, I
or
don't.
Dave said, we're talking a day or a day and a half.
I don't think so.
Now, if we feel like, they feel like, and this doesn't solve it, we want to put a pipe all the way across the street, across private property, and hit the ditch along the tracks, that's an engineering, that's a heck of a lot bigger project, and I think that probably would take a whole lot more consideration, but, I don't know, at this point,
I think this would be a good start.
I understand your point too.
Well, I'm totally
There's a lot of people out there that.
Whatever you guys know, that's fine.
So,
That's the biggest thing I think, and it's going to keep the water off the street. You know, I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
You're not sure?
Well, no, but I mean.
We're not sure.
Well, as the mayor indicated, he's one that's been in and out of that driveway hundreds of times, and he's seen it. So, you know, I could go with his expertise also. But I think you indicated that it would help. Is that not
I
correct?
think, yeah, if he says that if the pipe is silted in and you can't even, it coming underneath the driveway, that water's got to be going over the top now anyway. So, yeah, that part's got to help.
Yeah.
I will say I've never seen water come across that parking lot to any extent. I think what's there is working, and I don't live there, and I don't work near there, but I worked there for 26 years, at least in that building, and talked to some people, other people who have been there since I've been there, and I've never known anybody, as long as I was there, that had to move their cars or ever got their cars flooded because it came across the parking lot. So again, I know there's a lot of water that comes off the Market that runs down along that driveway. And I know before Martin was here, some of you that have been on the board, the city did help clean out alongside that driveway probably about 5 years ago, because it was the water that was coming off Market Street that was filling in even that ditch alongside the driveway, alongside their driveway. So we did it 4, 5, 6 years ago, something like that. Helped clean it out at that point.
So it fills in that fast.
That part did, and I don't think we ever addressed that. I can remember really addressed the ditch on 10th Street.
can be done unless we find out about the telephone wire. So that's an issue that's all by itself.
I know Dave doesn't want to touch it unless that thing's
Yeah.
moved or make sure it's deep enough. There's no way knowing how deep it is.
It doesn't sound like to me it'd be that big of an awful.
You know how deep it is, they dug it up once. Yeah, it's not that, it's not very deep.
Yeah.
It's got to be, what, the wire? That part has got to be deep right there.
Well, it should be.
Oh,
I thought they said
they
they snagged
touched
it.
that probably 30 years digging, and that ditch was deep, and it's filled in. I keep hearing 2 to 3 inches. It's got to be, when I catch the telephone guy there, I'm wanting to, if he's got a machine, I'm just curious how deep it's got to be deep. I mean, and once you dig it the right height, it may not be very deep, but right now,
Yeah, as the mayor said, I think, we'll shoot the elevation starting at the discharge side of the north drive pipe. And we'll just figure out how many feet or inches of dirt we have to take out till we get on the flow line, and that's all, whatever that is, that's what we'll have to do. I'm not sure rip-rapping it makes a lot of sense, because it makes it more difficult to maintain, because it's going to silt in again later on.
So I
Dig
agree.
down once, how long is it going to be before we do it again?
I think we need to start having a ditch clean out
That's what they want.
all over the city. I mean, I can recall Poochie sharing some of them, and Johnny Burke, they used to go around every year digging out ditches all over the city. I never see them digging. I see the county and the MoDOT, but I never see the city digging any ditch anywhere, cleaning it out. They're all filling in.
And I think if there's any issues, it needs to come before this board. Anybody in the city needs to come here.
Absolutely need
If they've
to.
got
Probably
stormwater
make a priority
issues,
list, like you said, of all
they
the
need
ones
to
that
come.
haven't been
There's
maintained all this time.
that needs to be dug out all over the city.
We have enough water issues as it is, and
Yeah.
Well, I think the issue is that, I think a lot of people thought they were responsible for private property, but now this is changing.
Well, I don't think it is.
So now they have-
I don't believe it is, Teddy, because we want to keep the stormwater in a ditch that was much deeper than it is today. And I think all it amounts to is digging down, cleaning that ditch out. And we'll keep the majority of that stormwater in that ditch flowing down to the pipe where it belongs.
I understand that. This is exactly, I'm just saying that before, maybe they didn't
do you
think
need to know how
that
many say yes?
the city would take care of the private property. So now it's changed.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's a drainage ditch, it's stormwater. We're keeping it off the street and possibly out of people's homes or businesses downstream.
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
All those, well, obviously we got to deal with the water first.
Right.
Yeah.
Contingent upon the
Yeah.
wire being keeping up or being moved.
Any more discussion?
And what
Yeah, see what on a vote, see what, and I don't know what Alderman Stupi and Alderman Stupi, but it's their property.
Not my property.
You have nothing to do with Stupi's record, sir?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't have a doubt.
Well, you don't have to be me.
Well, I'm just saying.
But
Before you say something, make sure you got your points right. There's all 3 brothers.
I'm asking a question.
Okay.
So,
All right, so all in favor of doing something provided we've got, provided the utilities are located?
So I guess I need to abstain, huh?
We're not on your side.
I know.
you should, but
When you say doing something, I would like clarification on what you're
Oh, going to-
doing. Something.
On private property.
On private property, we're going to clear out and regrade the roadside ditch.
So I guess I want to ask
Grade
one
line.
question
So that
for
it drains.
So some of these people on private property, they can go ahead and fill their ditch in or whatever, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
All over the town?
It's their
I
property.
mean,
Well, yes and no.
can of worms there.
I don't want to get too theoretical here, but
That's what I'm saying.
stormwater is considered a common enemy.
It's on.
And we all have the right to fight it as best we can. And Frank said we have a joint responsibility, both the city and the citizen. And so when the city chooses to get involved, the city just has to decide the involvement is for the public good. But that being said, if you divert that stormwater from your property onto someone else to their detriment, the case law of the state of Missouri holds you responsible for that. So you can't just
That's-
arbitrarily
If you
push your
check,
water off.
if you
on
check, FEMA says the same thing, federal. If you divert stormwater somewhere else, you're responsible for it, wherever it might be.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I'm against it.
I at least got 4.
Linda, what did you vote?
I said, go ahead with it. As long as we know we're just doing this ditch thing, we're not going to be going overboard and
Putting new culverts or
all that
anything.
stuff.
And I agree, Denny, I think anybody who has any stormwater issues should come to us, and then we do it on a case-by-case basis, you know? And if it's like this, you know, we'll have to do the same thing we did tonight. You know, go over it and decide from there.
Okay. Any other questions?
You want there, but I mean,
I was
bring some
last
people
night.
in.
I didn't know
You got
that.
stormwater.
Limekiln.
I understand that your brother,
That's right.
I hope so too.
Okay,
You
anything
bet.
else from Martin? Any staff, no staff reports today, committee reports, anybody? Okay. We'll go to the minutes of September the 26th.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, old business bill number 3944. First reading?
Second.
Second.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for professional engineering services for water main replacement with Cochran Engineering of Union, Missouri.
Move to approve.
Second.
When we originally had this reviewed the contract, Frank had taken exception to a couple of paragraphs. They're in their general terms and conditions. In conversation with the company today, they have agreed to delete, if you'll turn to the general terms and conditions. There. Right there.
Yes. Page 3. Page 3.
Frank took exception to both paragraphs that are in all caps. One dealing with consequential damages, and the other dealing with limited liability. And the company advised me today that they are amenable to deleting those two paragraphs, so your approval should be with that understanding.
So they're deleting the all caps.
Right.
Yes.
And I could go into an explanation of why if you'd like to hear it, but it basically keeps them on responsible for whatever the consequences of their work might be.
Absolutely.
Okay, roll call.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Broomfield.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3944 now becomes ordinance 3885.
Thank you. New business, bill number 3945, first reading.
An ordinance restricting parking on the lot at the southeast corner of State Highway 61 and Market Street in the city of St. Genevieve, Missouri.
I think we should table this and get further information down the road. I mean, it's a public parking lot. I mean, it's not,
We're limiting it to 2-hour parking.
I don't think it should be 2-hour parking. Even for people who come to town, 2 hours is not enough time.
You want to make a motion to table it?
I'd like to make a motion to table it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
What?
Well,
You gotta deal with the first motion first.
We got to deal with that one. Do we have a second for that motion?
I just think 2 hours is not enough time. Especially people who come in and they tour downtown.
Tourists ain't using it though.
But still, I mean, it's a public parking. I mean, it's, I don't think it should be
What
restricted
would
to
you
2 hours.
propose rather than 2 hours?
I don't think it should be 24 hours. I think it should be 8 hours or, I don't think it should be 2 hours. I think that's limiting. I don't think it should be restricted at all, to be honest.
Well,
We got a second.
No,
No.
don't have a second now if you want
Okay.
to go for somebody to
I made
amend
the
it.
motion.
I made a motion.
You made the motion?
Approve.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I guess Sunday we broke ground on the Ward 2 park up there. I don't know if anybody's seen. Anybody's interested in donating money or helping out, we're gonna bring it back to life again. The flyers up there and everything.
Oh, okay. All right, if there's no other discussion, all in favor of the first reading of 3945?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Bill number 3946, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Missouri Petroleum Products Company, LLC of St. Louis, Missouri, for the microsurfacing project for the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion.
If we're going to have this company come in and put this micro seal down, and reading it says they want it done before November 1st, are they going to fix downtown first before they do this?
I can certainly make that arrangement.
They need to. I took pictures today,
Yeah,
and looked at downtown, it looks terrible.
Honestly, the reason we got a bid from them that's decent, given the small amount of work is, because they know they have to come in and do the repair anyway. So since they have to come in and do that, they're able to give us a fairly decent price for this small square footage, so it's working out. But we'll get them to do that first, that's not a
Get the
problem.
repair.
Okay, so contingent on them fixing our roads that's been there for a year, they've done nothing with it,
Yeah.
before they start a project on 4th Street.
That's in your motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay. It's my second.
Well,
We did have a second.
I'll second it.
John,
I did
wait.
myself.
Sorry.
We already had a
Third.
you already had a first and
Yeah,
second on
second.
that. That was, we were in discussion.
Is this going to need a
I wasn't
second
making a
motion
motion.
because of time frame? Okay.
All right, let's do the first one, you amend the second one, how's that?
Yeah.
Approve the first one, amend the second one, we're going to go for
That would
second
work.
reading. All right. Okay, all in favor of bill number 3946, first reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all in, I
I
need
make
a
a
motion.
motion.
Move for, no,
Move for a second.
Second reading.
Okay,
second. Guess nobody did.
With
Right.
The
With
amendment.
the amendment
Well, now you
that
put
they
the
have to complete prior,
We gotta vote on the second.
before
Now-
starting new
all
work.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Got all that
We'll get
down?
it.
Put that in.
Pam, you need to read
Yeah,
bill number
Shelter's got it.
3946, the second reading.
An ordinance of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Missouri Petroleum Products Company, LLC of St. Louis, Missouri, for the microsurfacing project for the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri.
Okay, now, somebody wants to make a motion with that
I make a
stipulation?
motion that is contingent on them fixing downtown to our satisfaction, and before they proceed to start working on 4th Street.
Okay.
Second.
What's the
Yeah.
time frame on the payment? I mean, we ain't gonna go through this again a year if that messes up on 4th Street, are we?
Well, we don't have to pay them when they get
Well,
it
they
done.
paid last time.
Well, I
Hey.
know.
They gave us a warranty, and that's why they're going to come back. Now, the fact that they haven't got it back in a timely manner
I
is
was gonna say, a
certainly
warranty
problematic.
means nothing if they waited a year, that's,
True. So are we getting the same warranty on
Yeah,
4th
and,
Street?
getting somebody to perform is always the issue.
We're going to have to stay on,
But,
get Main Street done, let them
Yeah,
know 4th
I mean,
Street, stay on.
It's supposed to,
Because
all
We
maintenance
can't-
and everything by November 15th.
they'll get it done. It's a one-day project.
so I guess my other question is, if they do the downtown and it doesn't work, then where do we go from there? While they're doing it, it doesn't adhere. Then we go back to square one, all the places here, and I've seen some of them. So what happens if it doesn't take? Do we have
Oh,
game
no.
plan? I mean, it didn't take the first time. What if it doesn't take the second go around?
I don't know how soon we would know that.
And I
I
guess,
think
We-
it
we
goes
gotta
back to
get
the
Fourth
doing
Street
it and
done.
I know we
at
gotta get
night.
Fourth Street
I
done.
think it goes a lot
I don't
back
know.
to.
It's gonna be awful
doing it at
embarrassing
night.
if it's like
I
downtown.
guess we won't use them again.
Well, and Sean just brought up, we had that dramatic temperature drop.
At
you know,
night.
While they were doing it.
At night.
And, you know, it's a proven process. There's no reason to believe it won't work. If they don't perform, you get them to come back. They don't come back, you gotta take the remedies that are available to you.
traffic may have been on that too soon also.
I think
We're
so.
hoping
In
that
places.
the weather situation, the time frame will be different.
That's what I'm hoping.
A lot of
So
hope.
we had the first and second, and
Going in a prayer.
Okay, roll call.
Alderwoman Broomfield,
Yes.
Alderman Ross,
yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers,
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3946 now becomes ordinance 3886.
Bill number 3947, first reading.
An ordinance approving change order number 1 in the amount of $2,000 and a final contract amount of $182,593.70 with Jokers Incorporated of St. Genevieve, Missouri for Porter Street Improvements Project.
Move to approve. This is the tree removal.
This is the tree.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any public comments, anyone? Yeah. Okay. Any other business?
Do we have this liquor license?
I guess other than,
We do have that.
Mayor,
Yes.
if anybody's interested, they can contact Jimmy Beckerman on the
Okay.
park up there.
Great, that's great.
Market 61.
That's good. We have one item on the agenda under other business. Mr. Wei Yang, owner of Wheat Steiner, 750 St. Genevieve Drive, is requesting approval from the city to change his current liquor license from the sale of beer and light wines to the sale of all intoxicating liquor.
That's supposed to be by the drink.
Oh, okay, buy the drink.
Sorry.
That's all.
Move approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good move.
Hi, thank you for watching Channel 798.
Thank you for watching Channel 7 and 98.
Hi, thank you very much for watching Channel 798.